Hey guys, let's get more news from Steelers, but first don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your like. ILB Blake Martinez says Panthers wanted to sign him to 53, ended up choosing here. Key individuals are rarely ever replaced with just one man assuming the tasks that they were responsible for. It's generally a platoon of individuals making up the difference. And that's even truer when you lose two key figures, as the Pittsburgh Steelers have at the inside linebacker position recently with season-ending injuries to Cole Holcomb and Quan Alexander. It's no wonder, then, that they have been casting a wide net in looking for reinforcements. While Michael Walker was added to the practice squad a week prior to the first of the two major injuries, they've since signed Myles Jack to the practice squad and added Blake Martinez to the 53-man roster. A former fourth-round pick out of Stanford, Martinez was a 49-game starter during his 4 seasons with the Green Bay Packers, later filling the same role for the New York Giants for 19 more games. A torn ACL derailed his career in 2021, however, and he was waived the following year, spending a brief period of time with the Las Vegas Raiders before retiring in season in November. I won't go into the details over why Martinez came out of retirement, you can read about it yourself, but he signed with the Carolina Panthers practice squad on November 6 with Carolina's intention to sign him to the 53-man roster in time. As that time approached, he decided to sign with the Steelers' 53-man roster instead. I think the path was to start playing here soon, he told Chris Adamski of the Pittsburgh Tribune-Review about his stint with the Panthers. I know when as I was choosing to come here, they were trying to make that late push to sign me there. But ended up choosing here. That's not exactly a shock given the Steelers' injury situation at the inside linebacker position, and Martinez acknowledged that was a factor in his decision, Adamski describing comments alluding to an expectation of playing time. It seemed like the best option. The 29-year-old has 4,800 career defensive snaps under his belt, so he knows a thing or two about how the game is played. Between 2017 and 2020, he registered 594 tackles, never fewer than 144 in a season, with 34 combined tackles for loss. He also had 12 sacks, 4 forced fumbles, 3 interceptions, and 18 passes defensed. But he hasn't played all that much football since then. Just 5 starts in 7 total games, amounting to 247 snaps with the Giants and Raiders. He's had a couple of weeks with the Panthers getting his sea legs back under him, but now he has yet another new defensive system to learn. Since he's already on the 53-man roster, he can contribute right away, in theory, though the coaches may want to give him more time to settle in. Given his familiarity in working with several different teams over the course of his career, however, the transition is not so new to him. One key takeaway from Mike Tomlin's comment on Steelers LB Myles Jack. Like many teams, the Pittsburgh Steelers aren't very transparent with outsiders about exactly who does what when it comes to things like firing Matt Canada and bringing back Myles Jack. Mike Tomlin will tell you that it was his decision and his decision alone to fire Canada. We all know that's not true. So when it came to the tone of his answer to a reporter's question about Jack in Tuesday's press conference, it sounded very much like he was already in Tomlin's doghouse, and perhaps it wasn't even his decision to bring him back. How the question was worded, you guys have moved on from Myles Jack after the season. Now you've brought him back. What do you see in him? What do you think he has left? Offered Tomlin an opportunity to approve of the decision and maybe puff Jack up a bit. Now, nothing may be left to puff him up about, but nevertheless, something positive could have come out of his response. Instead, he's a guy that has experience here and he's here in a practice squad capacity. And, so, I won't say much. Recall that the Steelers released Jack, who went to the Philadelphia Eagles, then abruptly retired, to help make the move for linebacker Elandon Roberts financially feasible. This couldn't have sat well with Jack. Am I overthinking the question and answer? Probably. Perhaps the perspective is off base. But it speaks volumes as to what Tomlin thinks about Myles Jack, a player at a position the Steelers desperately need some solid help with. Felt like I was figuring things out. Myles Jack still frustrated with how injuries ended Steelers' tenure. In the early portion of the 2022 season, things were going rather well for veteran free agent linebacker Myles Jack with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Then, as has tended to happen throughout his career, Jack was hit with injuries. Jack injured his knee and ultimately, he revealed, had an in-season cleanup procedure on the ailing knee. Though he didn't miss time, he admits he tried to rush back and was never the same last season. Then, he tore his groin late in the year, which completely sapped him of his mobility, leading to poor play and ultimately his benching. The injuries, along with his price tag, led to the Steelers cutting him loose on March 16 this year as they started to completely overhaul the inside linebacker room in free agency. Now though, after serious injuries to Cole Holcomb and Quan Alexander, Jack finds himself back in the Steelers facility, working himself back into football shape. Speaking with reporters Wednesday, Jack stated just how frustrating the end of last season was for him from an injury standpoint, but now he's healthy and ready to contribute again. So this offseason, I got my body right. I was training, taking care of myself, and then I just kind of developed a little routine where I was just working out every day, just like meditation and, yeah. So I feel good. Though Jack never truly missed time, he was dressed but held out of the Week 10 game against the New Orleans Saints at home coming out of the bye week. Head coach Mike Tomlin stated after that game that the Steelers were being cautious with Jack's usage as he was dealing with the knee injury leading up to the week. He didn't practice that Wednesday, but then was a full participant that Friday before then returning to the lineup the following week against Cincinnati. Then, late in the season came the groin tear. Ultimately, he had to be sat down, leading to Robert Spillane and Mark Robinson seeing significant snaps in the final few weeks of the season. Those injury concerns, and his injury history overall, led to the Steelers cutting him loose. Things have a funny way of always working out though, and due to another man's misfortune with injuries, Jack is getting a second chance with the black and gold. And you fan, what do you think of the Shaquille Leonard situation? Leave your opinion in the comments.